Let's go to a Bitcoin chart. So Bitcoin's actually doing what it did last year, and what it oftentimes does after a big markup. And it's this. And Bitcoin has a great way of like ranging for a very long period of time, like boring you to death, scaring you a couple times. And then it has a very sharp, sudden markup, and then it ices you out if you were sidelined. What I mean by it ices you out, this like slow grind up is very painful to watch for anybody who is like, like missed this initial markup, wasn't paying attention, wasn't, watching crypto, maybe not a trader, a full-time trader or investor, and just like saw the headlines or saw the big pump in Bitcoin and now sees it, but wants to wait for a dip to buy it. Well, like after we got this markup, it was 90 days before you got any real significant pullback. And like you actually like could have longed this insane pump. And this is something that I've seen CBS talk about before. So I'm kind of stealing it from him, but you could have literally longed the pump and then never gotten your entry point challenged. That's how Bitcoin can sometimes move. And I'm not saying that like Bitcoin's going to do that. But here we are, same time of year as last year, massive move upwards. And if you are refusing to buy the pump, which you really should, like I wouldn't be comfortable buying Bitcoin here either. Let me be very clear. I think there's other things that you have to do to get exposure in this market more carefully than just aping Bitcoin here. Honestly, you probably could ape Bitcoin here. And if you're like willing to stomach dips, like gold Bitcoin or Bitcoin versus gold does look very, like you could probably be fine over the next 6 months or so. But not the best place to be buying. But this is starting to ice people out. And yeah, it's what Bitcoin does. I pay attention a lot to high block. Because they have an indicator called bid ask, and this is, it's a basic indicator. I think it's a free indicator over there, and all it is this indicator right here. This just means there's a lot of bids in the market, more bids than asks, and this is simply the ratio. And this just means the black down here just means that there's more asks than bids. So oftentimes you'll get the local tops when the ask is high. There's a lot of Bitcoin for sale up here, and when there's a lot of orders, limit orders down here, you'll see support absorb all of the sells, and you'll see a bounce. So what I've been tracking with these little red dots is like, it's kind of a manual process, but because we're in this like grinding phase, I want to actually track where, because Bitcoin's like, it's chopping, right? It's still, the price action is choppy. And what you want to be aware of is like, if Bitcoin crashes here and it has like a run on, all of these lows, you want to be paying attention to like where the bid actually starts coming in. But then let's just say it starts, like we've had a couple of volatile like 15-minute candles and like a couple like that was pretty, I don't want to say scary, but like we unwound all of the buildup and barely made a higher low, and it was looking a little bit sketchy. And then earlier today we had the same thing. So by kind of tracking these little red dots, all I'm doing is I'm tracking where the bid ask is at equilibrium. So where the bid and the ask is basically zero. And what I'm seeing is that the equilibrium point on the bid ask, where the bid ask is zero, right, is equal amount of bids is, or I guess I'd draw it like this, equal amount of bids is asks. That equilibrium point is actually grinding upwards, which is bullish. And then all these highs and lows are just noise, right? Even if they're kind of volatile in nature, they're just noise. We are seeing that ask start to get eaten over time, which is in and of itself pretty bullish. It's just a scary time to be buying Bitcoin into all of the Bitcoin that is for sale up here. But you can see like we literally like we're back where we were when we topped, but the ask is actually like considerably lower now, meaning it was either moved or we have a big bid follow, because it's just the bid ask ratio. We either have like a big bid following and chasing this up, or we chewed through some ask, or the ask was moved up, all of which are conducive to price going up. So something to keep in mind, like Bitcoin might ice you out here, and I'm not saying buy Bitcoin here, because I do think like it's pretty common for a lot of these lows to eventually get run if like a lot of times what can happen, I'll go back over to this Bitcoin chart and go to, like this is a good example. I'll have to zoom out to the 4 hour. You start grinding upwards, right? And then you build a little bit of support here, and you get a run. You get like, everyone jumps in on leverage because they think this thing's going to take off, and you get wrecked. Same thing over here, run both sides of the order book, and you end up getting wrecked, and it gets pretty volatile and difficult to hold alts, especially in this kind of time frame. So all that to say, I think you just have to be very careful